Welcome to the Refuse Ordinary podcast. I'm your host, Tamara, and I'm so glad you've decided to join us on this journey of discovering who God is and who we are in Him. We are so excited to share with you today another class from our full-time School of Transformation. Today's teaching is called Rejection and Insecurities, taught by Maria McWhorter. We hope you have a great listen.
So, I'm going to try to ease you into this topic. Because what we're going to be talking about is rejection and insecurities.
Oh boy.
I know. I know, right? Rejection and insecurities really does limit our potential of being who God has called us to be. It stops us. It puts barriers on us. It causes us to be held back by a belief system that experiences may have caused to feel true, but are no longer true. And then what happens with it is that it becomes an expectation that becomes an actual, like a self-fulfilling prophecy with rejection and insecurity. So I want to first focus on rejection. Hey. Is there a way to talk about rejection that isn't terrible? I don't know. But let me ask you this. What does rejection affect behavior-wise?
Everything.
Describe for me, what does everything mean, Cody?
So rejection makes you feel like you're not a part of a community or a team. Rejection makes you feel like you're less than other individuals that you're working alongside of. Rejection makes you feel like you don't belong. Rejection also makes you feel like you can't relate to anybody. So all these things affect your job, your day-to-day life, your ability to function around your teammates, your ability to function around the people you're leading, and your ability to fit into the community.
So the statement of it blocks you from your potential then is true.
Yeah.
Right? And so then it's when we're stuck in a feeling of rejection and a cycle of rejection, it's how do we get ourselves out of it? Because everything you talked about hits the emotions so strongly. Now, what's interesting in psychology, they realized that actually the, hold on, let me just make sure that I get this accurately. The pain pathways in your brain, rejection actually piggybacks on those same pathways. Isn't that wild to think that? So hence why rejection can feel so painful. And what's interesting too is that in trying to recall a physical pain event doesn't hurt as much as when you recall a rejection moment. It triggers that. It also releases this aggression and anger unlike anything else. All right? So then it is a safe thing to think of, okay, if I have ever felt rejection, I will do everything within my power to protect myself from ever feeling this again. Right? Yeah. So the difficulty with rejection is it's one of those things that spreads because of people having been rejected. And the people that spread the rejection are rejected, and therefore then the people that they reject become rejectors. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. We also hurt ourselves in the very sense that the thing that we want the most is to feel accepted. But when it feels like in a relationship or friendship interaction, it's getting even close to that line of that similar event of rejection that we've felt before, we will reject them before they can possibly ever reject us. What does that gain us by being the one that initiates the rejection rather than receiving it?
We feel like it protects us.
But what are we left with? Are we left with protection?
No.
Just that same achy pain.
Yeah.
That just is like this bottomless pit that you cannot fill. Right? So looking at, so if you are in ministry then and you're having somebody that you are beginning to recognize the signs of rejection, you're going to see it in what ways?
The starting signs of seeing somebody rejecting people is distance.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start distancing themselves from others.
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be shut off. Like emotionally, you're not going to be able to communicate with them.
Yep.
They're going to not want to get emotional, or they're not going to want to talk to you about personal stuff. And they're going to do the favorite, which is 2-word answers. Which is, I'm good, I'm straight, cool.
2-word answers. All the things that creates this shield, huh? So a rejected person is going to make sure that you don't get close. So what hope do rejected people have?
They don't.
Right? If we stay in this place of rejection, in this fear of being rejected, it feels like there is no hope. Right? Yes, sir. What were you going to say?
So, I don't know, sometimes it feels like you want to be rejected, though.
What do you mean?
You know what I
When
mean?
they want to be rejected?
It's like if you've been rejected your whole life.
Yep.
Then when you present yourself to somebody, you're almost expecting it. So when they don't, it makes you hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in some cases, the person will start building and listing off all the crap they've done wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, went to prison, and you start listing, and it's like you're fighting a case for yourself to prove to them
Why they
that you're
should.
rejectable.
Okay.
Those guys know they've been dealing with that all their life. They know how to deal with rejection.
Yeah.
They
I know how
don't
to deal with
know
rejection.
how
I
to
know how to deal
respond
with-
to love
Yeah.
or acceptance, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's safe.
And that's way scarier than that's unknown.
Yeah. Okay. And then you want to lead them towards Jesus. People that want to stay in their rejection, and because it's familiar, like you're describing, and if it's the place that they know what to expect, but the idea of being loved becomes so scary that it's something that they kind of push back. How do you lead them to Jesus then? Because Jesus is love, right? And the very thing that they're looking for is found in Jesus. And so it's a matter of now, do we want to stay a rejected person? And the lives that we lead in front of them help them see whether or not it is something that can be overcome. Trust has to be built, right? As you begin to walk alongside people, which is, again, I believe another reason why Jesus tells us to live in community is this: you build this trust with one another, that you see who people are behind closed doors as they are in front of others, right? And it's the trust that gets built of going, okay, so this is how you handle life. How do you handle rejection? Right? The people that are most wounded by rejection reject others who may try to help them, right? To push them away. But the very thing they're longing for is, please just overcome my rejection. Please show me I am someone of value. So their greatest insecurity is that the lie is true. I have no worth. I have no value. And yet every truth that then Jesus that is read of Jesus that tries to permeate into their soul is nope. I have to control everything. I cannot allow this in. I can't. Because it'll hurt too much. Right? And the idea that anything could actually fill those places of this hurt, cause a different purpose in life, and now have an expectation for greatness is like, what? So then the enemy just wins? The reason that this person is alive is because they're just the broken part of God's creation that had to be there. Do you see how deeply those lies get steeped into someone's soul? So would it be fair then to say that to overcome rejection, you have to know yourself pretty well?
Yeah.
You have to know how to not give in to those inclinations. If something is pushing on, okay, we'll use somebody else as an example, in the sense of someone you're ministering to is just trying all the things that they can to get you to reject them, like you were saying, giving the list of all the sins or all the horrors of their life as a reason now that you should back off, right? So in it, if we do not in ourselves, as we're encountering this person and they're giving this list, how you respond here and what you do, your body language is a big factor in that. If in your response, you're like, you just spoke without using words, right? Or you start to kind of just slowly back up, you just spoke without using words, right? It's crazy how easily it is to pick up of how subtle it is just that somebody is rejecting me, and just as I thought they would. Right? Or you find yourself, because of their belief system is so in place, you find yourself responding out of your own character to someone. going, what is it about this person that just irritates me so much? Why is it whenever I'm around them, the snippy comes out? You ever notice? And you're like, what is this? And you're like, I can't figure out why, this isn't me. This is not how I usually, put me around anybody else, and this isn't how I operate. Yeah? Anybody experience that? Right? So, I may not call it snippy, but that'd be nice. And so it's a matter of then, okay, so there's a belief system at work in them. So now, whose side do you want to be fighting on? See, the Bible tells us that it's not people we fight, but principalities and powers of darkness, right? Someone is purposefully pushing out love because they have been taught they are not worthy of it. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with someone staying in that place that's in your sphere of influence, thinking that they are not worthy of love? I'm looking to see responses. I got 2. Are you okay with that?
Can you say it again?
Or if someone in your sphere of influence that you can tell is okay with believing the fact that they are not worthy of love, are you okay with that?
No.
So this is where I'm trying to go of like, we're going to soften the ground on looking first on how would you deal with someone else? But then really what that has to sink into is how would you deal with your own? Because it has been hardwired into you as a truth. A truth that has become the way of living, that I am rejected because of blah. There is something about me that makes people feel blah. Whatever the blah is, that is blah because it is a disgusting thing from Satan. That is stopping you, that is hindering you from being who God has made you to be, to living in the full potential of who you were made to be, what you were called to do. And it creates then in you an insecurity that goes, I need to protect this area, and I cannot let anybody see that it's there. If somebody gets close enough and they see that this thing is there, they're going to now reaffirm the very thing that I fear. And if it's another person reaffirming this, that pulls me deeper into this lie and you don't think of it as a lie, but it pulls me deeper into this identity of I'm actually worth nothing. And when Jesus comes, well, hopefully I can shine his shoes well enough that he will let me in. Something I can do will earn that place where he'll actually begrudgingly be like, oh, okay, fine, you can come in. And grace and forgiveness is this concept that's like, wait, what? And then we create a Christianity that is all out of self-righteousness. Because it's what we can do. Because God can't accept me because of the blah that somebody else had said. So let me ask you this. Is every single person that has ever been an influence in your life been perfect? Has every single person that you have ever encountered in your life been perfect? In comparison to you? Are they perfect? What's the chuckle? He's like, well, now that you put it that way. Right? But so it's evident that they are not perfect. What if the interaction they had with you is actually wrong? I mean, even psychologists say you need to identify the negative thoughts and reframe your thinking in a more positive way. And it's like, well, what they're trying to say is identify the lies and repeat the truth. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. We I think, limit the effectiveness of it because we just keep it in our head. I'm like, oh, that was a lie. Well, if I just don't say anything, nobody will know. And yep, that's okay. What's the opposite? Okay, that's the truth. Okay, right. Don't think that way. And it has an effect to a degree, but not as effective as like when you include someone or you speak it out loud. Because whose image are we made in? You are made in God's image. What did God do when he wanted to make the world and everything that we know? What is something Jesus tells us in the Bible about our words? Power. What kind of power, Lyndon?
Trying to think of the verse. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all good.
To pull down and build up.
Yeah. Pull down or build up. Life or death. right? There's these very clear points of your words and what you speak will either cause something to live or to die. And it comes down to who will we agree with? See, if I claim that I am Christian, well, this means now that I must agree with the things that Jesus says. I must agree with the things Jesus says. Because otherwise I cannot call myself this. And so it's okay, our feelings get involved. Our experience tells us, but who is greater than? Do you want the things that you've always known to be the dictating factor of the rest of your life? But if we resign ourselves to, well, then that's who I'll become. That's choice. We always have that power of choice to go, which will I agree with? Will I agree with God or will I agree with Satan? Will I agree with the insecurities or will I agree with the truth? Right? And it's a matter of now I need to have different experiences for the rejection that I've felt. So yes, your point about having forgiveness be a focal point is, I don't think there's a wasted effort in forgiveness. You may feel tired of saying it, but that doesn't mean it's a wasted effort. Something powerful occurs because let's be real, how many times in a day do certain thoughts come through your mind of a negative nature? Think of it this way, okay? Do this little exercise with me, okay? Think to yourself, I'm really tired. Go ahead. Think to yourself, I'm really tired. Man.
No problem. Yeah.
Done. Okay. Well, but here's hold on. Okay, so but think, I'm really tired. I can't wait for today to be done. Oh, I hope I have the energy for what I have to do next. And okay, do you notice something in your body happening right now? How many of you could just kind of power down right now? Okay, now, are you willing to do something with me? Now, switch gears. Start thinking about, I'm really excited about what could be happening next. I wonder what God's got in store for today. I really am looking forward to what I'm going to be doing later. If you're actually following me on this and actually starting to think of this stuff of I'm looking forward to, or I'm excited about, or I wonder. Now now think this. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. Now, if you aren't currently feeling good, you probably had a little battle going on in your brain right then of she's lying, I'm lying. But if you actually follow the exercise, did you notice how you feel now? How do you feel? What was the difference you noted?
Feel more awake. Feel more.
Energized, right? What about you, Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah? Did he say one word or two word answers? Can't tell. What about you, Lyndon?
Yeah. Excuse me, yes.
Yeah. I was driving over here and I was thinking of that. I'm oh man, I'm tired. And I could feel myself just kind of and I'm wait a minute. Actually, I'm kind of excited. And I just started and it's that simple exercise of changing our focus changes the energy that you feel in your body. What endorphins get released, what proteins get maxed out in your body. When you're afraid, guess what gets sent to your stimuli? And everything physically just starts to, which reinforces then why I should feel afraid, why I should feel negative, right? So it's not a mind trick. It's what you focus on actually affects your physical body. It's science. It's the way God wired it because he knows that and even Paul talks about where our attention is. We should keep thinking on the things that are good and pure and holy and righteous and true. Paul illustrates this to us of yes, there's all sorts of reason in life to be down and out, but because of the hope that you have to put your focus on what is true so that you can overcome, right? We must overcome. And so the rejection of what people have wrongfully done is something that if I stay focused on that rejection, it will bring everything down. And it will cause everything to go negative and me to reinforce the lies that were instituted by that person's actions. And it causes me then to reject the love of Jesus.
Could you take it a little further? Didn't that even say that what you focus on becomes what you believe?
Yeah. And we replay it over and over and over again, right? So hence why I'm pointing out the fact that, hey, if you have to repeat the truth over and over again, you got to tip the scales. So we say a truth a couple times and we figure, magic wand, done. And then you get frustrated that you have to say it another time, and another time, and another time. But here's the thing, you're retraining your brain to go from straight to negative to now to positive. And it will become easier the more you do it, the more practiced you are at it, because the world has trained you to be very practiced at going to the negative. And when we recognize the signs of it, of this anger and this frustration and manipulation and all these things that of rejection just spills out into, it stops us and others from being who God has made us to be. And His love can overcome it. We have to be willing to speak out the truth. So if that starts first with you of recognizing, where is it that I go into rejection? Where is it that I think, okay, you know what? Because here, this may help in the recognizing of whether or not we go into rejection, okay? A lack of authenticity. You have a carefully monitored and scripted way of life. That I will make sure that I stay within these boundaries because this group of people seems to be okay with me in this land. But if I go outside of that, nope. And so you kind of reevaluate everything you said and did to make sure that you're staying in the script. That you don't just share your opinion on things, but you're kind of like, okay, wait, gauge the crowd first, right? You live behind a mask and may seem phony and inauthentic to others. And if challenges come, it's like, oh, no, because I don't know how to anticipate those things. I don't know what to do. I'm not going to be the one that says, hey, I would really like in this next season, I'd like to do this. Can you please consider me for that? Even though it's a heart's desire or a dream you have, no, can't let them know. Because if I don't get picked, then I'm just rejected again. Then I'm felt worthless again, right? And so we stay behind and we just go, if I expect nothing, I'll be okay. As long as nothing's wrong, I'm okay. But that's not being genuine or authentic. That's not being the growing person that God has called you to be. If we can't identify even our own emotions, somebody asks how you are, you're like, eh. And we can't identify it, it's because we're living behind this thing of, I can't let people see my genuine self. But here's the thing, when Jesus returns, everything will be revealed. Your genuine self will be on display. People-pleasing is one of those areas of rejection too, where you think you have to make sure if everybody's okay with you, then you're okay, right? You avoid confrontation, you're passive, you have no ability to say no to people, which can turn into enabling bad behavior of others, just so that they like you, right? Let's see, what else is some more? Oh, passive aggressiveness can be. Passive aggressiveness. If you're forced to actually have to show what your needs are, you do it in a very passive way of like, you might procrastinate, forget forget keeping promises or complain or just hit the bottom of the barrel in what you can do. Almost to push people away of like, nope, don't, just don't, right? So because this rejection wants to keep its hold on you. And there can be really overt rejection, there can be really covert rejection, right? And all these things are factors that play into our life that now are intricacies that work out how we live our day. And are we okay with what they are causing in the fruit of our life? See, it may have been the norm, but Jesus calls us to something different than that. Now, let me ask you this. Has Jesus rejected you? I got to know there. Nope. No. Across the board, Jesus has not rejected you. Okay? So let me ask you then this. Why doesn't that solve all your rejection? Why do other people get to have more weight in their opinion of you than him? So what we then need, if you've given them the place of Jesus in your life, would it be fair to say then that we actually need to give him his rightful place? right? So if it means then us speaking out the truth, of agreeing with him rather than our experiences, is he deserving of that? I wish I could give an understanding as to why people do the things that they do. It's one of the things I love in conversations with people, of trying to understand the way that they work, the why behind some of their actions or some of their responses. And the world is a messed up place. That does not take a rocket scientist to figure out. The principality of the air is this confusion and dissension and rebellion from Satan. And what we do then is now separate from being part of that and now step into the kingdom of light when we make what God says, what Jesus has said to us, the creator of us, who knows us better than anyone could ever, make his words more valuable than someone else's. So in that forgiveness, it's taking this rejected moment and going, I'm choosing to exchange it for your truth about me. And now when a moment is arising, it's now an opportunity for a new experience. If I have to repeat to myself, I'm not rejected, I'm accepted, and I'm loved, right? I can be myself. Not everyone's going to understand it, but that's okay. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Doesn't mean I'm invaluable, or no, unvalued. That's the word, right? And so if I remind myself of those and then I have a interaction with someone and it doesn't go well, should I run back into my cave and shut the door? We have to gain confidence in our ability to actually succeed. We have to have those moments of going, wait, no, okay, let me dissect this a minute. Was that actually about me, or was that about something completely different? Right? Because too often we take things to be completely personal, and it has nothing to do with us. Because of it's like our fear of rejection is this magnet that we're holding up that's waiting for things that are similar enough to go be drawn to it, to reinforce, so that Satan wins and the lies are continually reinforced, and therefore you are now forever stuck, right? But as we break that magnet down and we go, I'm going to choose truth. I'm going to choose that you love me, Jesus. I'm going to choose to no longer agree with this, but I'm going to speak out something, and I'm going to forgive. There's not the same thing to attract it to. So now actually what that means is my interactions with others do have the possibility of being different. That's exciting. And then I have a really good one and it's like, yes, okay, now this solidifies maybe that what I was anticipating of always having negative is not true. There is a chance for always positive too, right? And we set goals for ourselves to start moving towards something different, because we have to stretch those boundaries a little to then go be uncomfortable and go, okay, Jesus, you say this. I need to understand. I need to see it. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stretch myself a little bit, and I'm going to, okay, here we go. I mean, it can be from big things to small things. And I don't think there really is a scale on which we can go, oh, well, you know what? That shouldn't have affected you if the evidence shows that it does. Why not give it another opportunity of, okay, Jesus, I choose to forgive. Okay, Jesus, I need your truth on this. And having a strong support system is huge on this. How you overcome your fear of rejection is you have people in your corner that are going to love, that are going to look you in the eyes and go, I'm really sorry that happened. That isn't who I know you to be. This is the truth about who I know you to be. Right? Because we have to validate in how it felt. Because even though I don't feel things the same way you do, I can't shut down what you're feeling. Because that just tells me you're not allowed to feel that. Right? Has that helped anyone? You're not allowed to feel that way. Well, but I do. So now what do I do with this? Like, it's there. So where do I shove it? Like, back corner somewhere and pretend it doesn't exist. All the while, it's just still there. right? Takes a lot of energy to hide things. Then, okay, hey, I'm really sorry that moment caused this feeling. And you know what's really good for us to do? Jesus, help me understand this feeling. Jesus, help me not choose a lie because of this feeling. But what is it that you want me to know? We have to get really good at going to the creator of the one who made you and understands you. And sometimes he'll highlight the fact that this person is struggling. And I'm really sorry that they affected you that way, but that's not who you are. And then we can go, oh, I can have grace for that person then. Because that wasn't about me. You know? Our insecurities want approval. We want people to see us for us. But we're scared. If you have received a prophetic word, please raise your hand. In that prophetic word, did you fully agree with every single thing that was said about you in the way of, I could see that happening now? Or did anybody get a word and go, are you sure that was meant for me? Because that sounds like, whew, like somebody different. Anyone? I remember one of the prophetic words I've gotten, it was like, are you talking to the person behind me? Are you sure that's me you're talking to? Because do you know me? Why would I be going and doing that? How could I ever go there? Why would people ever listen to me? Anyone? Yeah? Okay. Well, regardless, my point being is that if you get a prophetic word like that, what's exciting about it is the fact that God sees you differently than you see yourself. And it's good if you can be like, okay, yeah, I can see that. And sometimes the prophetic word is a reminder of where you've been. Like, hey, by the way, God sees you. You're not oblivious to him. And he's aware of what you're even thinking, right? And then sometimes it's a foretelling of what the future could be for you if you choose. If you choose to grow and let yourself become now who he sees you to be right now. See, he sees you now as this person because he sees you through Christ, right? All that potential and all that influence and all that availability is right now in God's eyes. And we're here going, I'm still stuck on this wrong filter that makes me look old, right? We got to change our filter to now have this like, right, seeing it through God's eyes. But I can't see it if I hold on to rejection, negative self-talk, criticism, comparison, blaming, judgment. Is that me? Oh, hope not. Anyway, and so if that is the way that we see ourselves, it will be hard to see how God sees, right? So, what do we do with our rejection? We need to start with some forgiveness. Then we also need to look at the fact of where are there negative thoughts in my head that are trying to reestablish the lie? Yeah? And what do we do with those negative thoughts then?
Replace them with truth.
Yeah, and I think in the replacing them with truth, we need to let someone in on that journey. You need to let somebody see you and know you. Because you've gotten really good at hiding it, right? Rejection causes us to hide real well. So a way to render that powerless is to now show and let somebody know. In that vulnerability, and be honest about it. This is the scariest thing in the world for me to be texting you this stuff or calling you about this stuff or meeting with you and talking with you about this stuff. I feel like I'm just laid bare and please have grace with me in this. And if they're willing to do that, then do it for real with them. Don't just give them things that you think that they want to hear. We need to be safe people for others as well. And here's the thing, in our time and learning how to do ministry and being those people that God has called us to be, it's a learning curve, right? And so there will be things that people will say and do that will push your buttons. Take that as an opportunity for more healing. You know? Like say you leave here and you go to dinner and the people that you usually sit with have the table all full for whatever reason. Or, there's just a variety of things of you, the guys in the house. You get a new guy and now he's somebody who's familiar with some of the other guys in the house and now they start creating this little group. Right? Or the roommates go out for an evening and they just simply forgot that you were going to be home that night. There's 1,000,001 different things that can happen that will try to set you up for feeling rejected. Steve said hi to somebody else, but he walked right by you. Right? These are things that like, oh, you have the moment. Sometimes you don't even have to think about like, how am I going to take this? It's immediately like, rude. Right? I'm just going to stockpile that moment in my pile of things of why I should just be angry and bitter and you get what I'm saying? Or, oh, wait, this person said this, and the way it came off and the tone that they totally said it in is, whatever. How dare they? Right? Instead of, what if I go to them and say, hey, so in our conversation earlier, you said this, and this is how I took it. Is that what you meant? Do you know what that does right there? Just that question builds up, not destroys. Gives moment for the person to go, no, that isn't what I meant. And please, if somebody comes to you with something that they're like, hey, this bothered me. Is this what you meant? Please don't be false in your answer to them, because that doesn't actually help anybody. You know what I mean? Like if you give them what you think they want to hear, that doesn't help them or you. That just adds another layer of the mask that you now have to live up to around this person. That gets exhausting. And then you forget who it was with that you needed to wear that one. Because it's a large community. Be real. Okay? As best and as honoring as you can, be real about it and be like, yeah, it's because the way you came in. I took that as this. Was that what you meant? That question, is that what you meant, is seeking to understand instead of assigning blame. Well, it's because you did this. Well, that's blame. That just lays blame at their door, and now they have to figure out what they're going to do with it, and it stinks. But is that what you meant? Now goes, no, I can adjust this, so now we can both understand each other and meet in the middle. You get what I'm saying? Okay? So if it's, and in the realness of it of like, and you actually begin to have that connection and bond. And now you can feel like you can be yourself around someone and not have to constantly pretend. And there's something very healing about being yourself, because that's who God made you to be. And that's what the world needs. If you're trying to adjust to being someone else, they're already there, so they don't need you. There is that person, so we don't need a duplicate, we need you. And God values you because he made you specifically the way that you are. There may be some fine-tuning that needs to happen. But, is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I think it's a good thing for us to grow, because then it causes us to be dependent on one another rather than independent. It causes us to know each other's strengths and weaknesses so that we can cover one another and rely on each other and ask for help. If I know nothing about you, how can your progress help me? But if I know some things about you, then if I have questions in those areas, I know who I can talk to. Right? And as rejected people, we don't want to find out about other people's strengths because that creates comparison for us. So we isolate. So another reason why living in rejection is not helpful for us as Christians in community that are going after Jesus, right?
Thank you for listening to this episode of Refuse Ordinary. We hope you were encouraged, inspired, and even challenged to seek more of who God is and who you are in Him. If you have any questions about the School of Transformation or would like to apply for our next semester, please go to transformationschool.org or send us an email at info@transformationschool.org. See you next time.